2020 has been a doozy of a year. Like when you really think about it, it's been rough, all right? And there's gonna be like a lot of movies that probably talk about it, mostly terrible movies, and I just can't wait for it's gonna be like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Vin Diesel and Fast and Furious 27 to be for fighting for a cure against Scarlett Johansson to save the world from the Corona Lyme, this, that. You just know that there's gonna be a lot of things to talk about 2020 into the future. I can't even wait for history books to talk about what happened this year. But either way, lots has changed, all right? People that love giving hugs just ain't so huggy anymore, which is good for me. I'm not a big hug guy, all right? PDA has a new disdain by about 99% of the population, and the car culture has shifted drastically because of it all. Not because of the hugs, but because of some other stuff. So what's it all mean?
What do the numbers mean, Mason?
All right, I'm Alex at FI on Instagram, and today we're gonna be talking about what's changing for car enthusiasts as we jump into 2021. And if you're just jumping into one of these videos, hello! Don't forget to subscribe so you can keep making videos like this. And of course, if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, be sure to check out fitmentindustries.com. And if you have an aftermarket car and you want to add it to our gallery, that'd be super, super slick because we're trying to get a big ass gallery, you can do so over at fitmentindustries.com/add. It's a little bit of a cumbersome process, but I promise we're working on it. Mostly because you guys have so many different modifications on your car, it's hard to actually encapsulate all of that. Is encapsulate the right word? Maybe. I heard it once in a pharmaceutical ad, and here we are. There's been a lot of change in the car community, like a lot of change, especially in the past year or so. But we would probably argue that the number one thing that will likely change as we jump into 2021 versus how things were in like 2019 and 2018 is how we actually enjoy cars. Now, this year's taught us just how close we all get to enjoy this passion. Like literally the physical space has taught us how close we need to get to actually enjoy this with others. And you'd have thousands of people just barrage into expo centers. You had track days with instructors that were sitting in your car, and you had cone protectors at autocross events that had 3 or 4 people per turn. Now have to find new ways to control distance, safety, and all of that junk. And it's a lot to take into consideration. But while, you know, there can be some negative connotations about that in terms of not being able to have those people next to you, it's responded new interest in a lot of different ways to enjoy cars. So what used to be just expo center style automotive events has now turned into an indoor-outdoor show. Massive park events, larger autocross tracks, and even chase follow track practice, which is hella fun. Seriously, it's when your trainer, your instructor is in one car, you're in another car, and you play cops and robbers with them on the track. And then they help you and they teach you what you can and can't do, and then you got a little microphone so you can talk to them at the same time. Not as exactly the same thing as being buddy to buddy, but still, what used to be a super close like thing will likely now just be effing huge, all right? That's especially with shows. Gatlinburg, Tennessee of 2020 was a great example. While they had to limit the amount of people inside, the outside areas exploded. There was cars absolutely everywhere, and people just hung out outside. People enjoying the beautiful weather, the mountain tops, all right? The driving experiences that the city had to offer all became more better. They became more of a thing that you did because you couldn't do the other thing. Now, the inside was neat, but the excitement turned into how you actually enjoyed the whole weekend and the location versus just the inside of the car show. And everyone enjoyed that. It was awesome. Same with track days at Road America or any other prominent track that you go to in the United States. For those that are on the edge of doing a track day, by the way, just do it. It's gonna be a blast. Do it with a decent car, otherwise it's gonna blow up, but do it, it's totally worth it. Just prepare yourself for brake and rotor replacements literally immediately after doing your first track day. I didn't think of that, and I should have. But for those that are worried about track days ending, found themselves almost with more freedom than before. Kind of like what we talked about before, practicing with a lead follow instructor training, or you'd have some sort of radio coaching, and you'd even have virtual instructors. Like, don't get me wrong, having somebody right next to you is super cool and super fun, and they can point things out, and they give you really stressed emotions, and you sweat, and you get nervous, but it is also fun to kind of have a little bit of independence as you're learning, because not everybody takes well to the super high pressure of somebody yelling and pointing from the passenger seat as to where you want to go. And I like playing cops and robbers with my driving instructor because I got to bully him not really around with an M4, and then he scooted around in a Porsche 944, and he made me look like a dumbass. But it was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to go do it again. Another cool thing I've seen come out of 2020 is the refocused attention of people building cars for themselves versus, you know, whatever else the other thing is. They usually are now just building it and then showing it to an interested community. Now, the launch of things of like the old Talk Tick, the Kit Talk, the Kit Cot, the Tickety Tockety. Okay, I know, I'm on it too, and it's one of those things where it's like you didn't know if you were gonna end up on it, now you're on it, you can't stop watching videos on it, now you're here, like me, kind of ashamed. But either way, there is something very special about being able to have another platform that you can share your build with. Throw some Night Lovell music on it with some remixed AMGs. I don't know, it's weird and awesome. But those short channel style things and reels and all that stuff have allowed people to share their passion with their audience once again because they don't have another way to do so. Things like going live and sharing their car parts, sharing their builds so far, and just having fun for themselves has actually reignited, I think, a lot of what made YouTube so special back when YouTube first started up. It was an opportunity for people to share their life story, and that kind of dwindled away over time because a lot of people just didn't think it was for them. Well, then when you're stuck at home and you're building your car, going live doesn't really seem that scary. Putting something up on a reel doesn't seem that scary. I mean, we even had Gels unbox his own stuff live, and you have people like Gray that's taking people like you and people like me along for the ride on a 240SX build. Those sort of things are really interesting. Now, in the past, it's always been about completed builds, but in 2020, it seems to be way more about the journey of building the vehicle, which is extremely neat. And I think it's a lot of fun to get people to own their stuff again instead of the online community being so angry. When you think about how the community had a tougher time getting together, I can see this growing into people being a new way to connect, to be a little bit more of a happier place because you're growing an audience that relates to what you're building. And that goes with everything, YouTube, TikTok, live streams, all of it. And if you haven't done those things yet and you are building something fun, I challenge you to go do that because you'd find out that there's a lot of people that would love to watch whatever it is that you're building. Another thing is just by the way we experience some of the joys of races and car shows. I mean, even though there may be some tough things as to where you live and how you can enjoy those shows and you can go to things like Formula One races and things like that, the way that we've gone to experience those races and those things has changed because you have companies like Formula One, ESPN, Formula Drift, and more finding some really freaking cool ways to inject a viewer into events that are almost better than the odd old cold ass bench seats that you would sit on if you were actually at the event, or you just couldn't even see the track because you were so far up in the air because you decided not to spend a little bit of extra money to actually see the track. Then you just end up drunk off Busch Lattes and you don't know where you are, all right? The new way of going into some of these events are really neat. You have companies introducing things like virtual reality, cockpit view things like 24/7, and all the cool stuff with new text, tips, and screens that are an actual experience versus before it just being pretty much a TV. Now, even the sim rigs are finding ways to integrate into real-time races that happened in the past so you can experience those teams with the racers that also ran it. They're trying to find new ways to get you involved without actually having you be there. Now, is it a replacement for it? Probably not, but it's a damn good way to at least have some fun while you're waiting for everything to clear up. And it's neat. And while the scene is changing for car enthusiasts in a weird way, I think a lot of it, weird, there's a D at the end of weird, or not weird, I think it's weird, in a weird way, I think a lot of it has been good. It's been good to reset and focus on that garage build that you really started and never thought about finishing. Now you have a great way to actually share that with people, and if they want to watch, they'll watch, all right? It's been cool to relearn and take a breath to actually see more people, I don't know, encouraging others instead of tearing them down, because a lot of times in the summertime, everybody just went outside, and then when they were on the internet is because they're being angry. Well, when you're stuck being on the internet, you realize that it's actually not that fun being angry all the time. I mean, it's just me. It's been fun to watch this incredible community break past all the reasons that this year could have been bad and turned it into good. And if you're a car guy or gal, just don't lose that passion. Build your car, share that experience with everyone, have fun, make a TikTok, start a YouTube channel, do it for you and build it for you and share that experience, because ultimately as we jump into 2021, it should be about you and your build and how you want to go about creating something different. Find new ways to experience the thing you used to love and try new things to enjoy that you never had time to before. I mean, after all, 2021 is a new year. All right, I'm using it as an excuse to I don't even know what my New Year's resolution is, but hopefully 2021 can be a banger. But what defines a banger is mostly our perception of it. So have a good time or try to have a good time, and you probably end up having a pretty good time. And if I'm gonna be honest, car enthusiasts are some of the most stubborn, die-hard workaholics that refuse to give up on a 30-year-old box because they just feel like it has potential. If we can do that, we can get through 2020 and we're gonna kick some butt in 2021. But let us know what you think in the comment sections below, and let us know how you plan to build up your car in 2021. And if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, be sure to hit us up over at fitmentindustries.com. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries, and we will see you later. Peace.